Hello students, how are you all? Hope you all are fine. So this video is specially for those students who are preparing for any competitive exams like NEET and JEE. So first we start with a chapter laws of motion. So laws of motion means we are going to study certain laws which defines how a object or a body move. Okay, so in this chapter we will study about Newton's three laws and applications of Newton's laws. So all these topics we will study one by one. So the first one is force. So what is mean by force? We can say push or pull which cause movement. Of an object. So force generally defined as push or pull which cause movement of an object. Okay, so by giving certain push, if this is our object, then if we push, then it will start to move or it goes to some new place. Okay, so this force is push. If we pull the same object, then it will come to its original position. So we can say this is pull. So generally force is known as push or pull which cause movement of an object. So there are totally two kinds of forces. We can categorize is fundamental force and derived force. So fundamental force, we can say two kind. Fundamental force, derived force. Okay, so further we can classify fundamental force in four categories. First one is gravitational force. So what is gravitational force? We can say this gravitational force as universal force so all the objects in the earth experience some gravitational force. If you throw any object above the earth, then what will happen? The object again comes towards the earth because of the gravitational pull of earth. So that force is known as gravitational force. It is a long range force. So it will act up to certain long region, long distance. So we can say this is long range force. Okay, so the next one is electromagnetic force. So electromagnetic force is a force which acts between charged particle. Okay, force between charged particles. Okay, if we consider the atom, so an atom consists of nucleus, right? So this is our nucleus. Nucleus have proton or neutron. So this is nucleus. So around the nucleus we have orbital, right? So in orbital we have electrons which revolve around the nucleus. Electrons. So electromagnetic force is a force which acts between this proton and the electron. Okay. So we can say the force acts between proton, electron. Okay. So if there are two charges which is in opposite in nature, then it will attract. For example, we say proton as a positive charge, electron is a negative charge. So these two charged particles will attract each other. Okay, same charges repel each other. For example, here we have electrons in orbital. So electron is a negative charge, another electron is a negative charge. So the electromagnetic force between these two charges are repulsive. Okay, so we can say two same charges repel each other. Okay, it will pull each other. Two opposite charges attract each other. Okay, it push towards each other. So this force is known as electromagnetic force. The next one is strong nuclear force. So we can say the force which acts inside the nucleus. Okay, so nucleus we have proton and neutron. Here proton is positive charge and neutron neutral charge. Okay, neither positive nor negative, neutral charge. So the force which holds the nucleons together, here nucleons means neutrons and proton. So some force act inside the nucleus which holds nucleons together, proton and neutron together. So that kinds of force is known as strong nuclear force. Okay, which holds the proton and neutrons together. We know the force between proton is repulsive. Okay, so inside the nucleus if we have many protons, then what will happen? Repulsion takes place. If protons repel, then what will happen? The balanced condition of atom will collapse. So to resist that, some force act between the nucleus to hold all the protons and all the neutrons together. That force is known as strong nuclear force. Okay, so next one is weak nuclear force. So weak nuclear force is also acts inside the atom. So this weak nuclear force manifests only when the decay process is carrying on. So it will manifest only for decay process, decay of an atom. Okay, if two nucleus combines together, two atoms combines together, then we say it as nuclear fusion. If a nucleus, heavy nucleus divided into two parts, we say it as nuclear fission. So in this nuclear fusion or nuclear fission is also known as decay process, decay of an atom. So in these parts, in these kinds of action, some force is manifested. So that force is known as weak nuclear force. When the combination of atom or division of atom. So during this process, some force is manifested. That force is known as weak nuclear force. So this force is very weak, just like a gravitational force. Okay. So next category is derived forces. The forces which derived from fundamental forces. Okay, derived from fundamental forces. Okay, for example, we can say spring force. If you consider a spring, the helical spring, So when we compress the spring, some force is stored inside the spring, right? When we elongate the spring, so some force is manifested in the spring. So that kinds of force is known as spring force. Then we can also say frictional force. So what is frictional force? If we move an object by giving some force, then some resistance force acting opposite to the movement of the object, that force is known as friction force. Okay, so any opposite force which acts against the movement of the object is known as frictional force. If you roll a ball in this direction, then what will happen? The floor will give some opposite force against the motion of the ball. So that force is also known as frictional force. Okay. So 2500 years ago, a philosopher Aristotle said a philosophy that is force causes motion. Okay. 205,000 years ago, Aristotle. So what he said, force causes motion. So without giving any force, we cannot move an object. Only force are the reason for the movement of object. So this is said by Aristotle around 2500 years ago. So these facts remain true for many years. Then 15th century, another scientist named Galileo, he said force not required to maintain the movement of an object. So what Galileo said, force is not required to maintain the movement of an object. So in order to verify this, Galileo did some series of experiment to prove that force not required to maintain the movement of an object. So what he did, a ball is pushed in an inclined plane and it reaches another inclined plane which is kept at an angle which is same as the first one, and it goes front and back motion, and the height of ball raised is same in both plane. After that, the inclination angle of second plane is made to reduce so that the ball cover more distance to reach the same height. So the height is same in both plane, but the distance is more in second plane than the first plane. And then the angle in the second board is further reduced to 0. Now the ball cannot able to reach the height of first plane, so it moves horizontally forever. If the height of the second board is reduced, the angle also reduced, then the ball starts to move and it jumps from the second plane because it cannot able to reach the height of the first plane, because the height of the second plane is reduced. So ball moves and try to reach the height of first plane, but it cannot reach, so it jumps out from the second plane. So from this experiment, it is clearly shown that the ball come downwards because of the gravitational force, so the speed is increased when it comes downwards. If the slope is in upwards, then the speed decrease because of the gravitational pull. So if the slope made horizontal, then ball will move horizontally forever without stop. If you reduce the angle, then the ball cover more distance to reach the initial height. By this experiment, Galileo proved that force is not required to maintain the movement of an object. So just now we saw the ball will start to move horizontally without stop, without any external force. So initially we give some external force to the ball. Then if we reduce the angle of the board, then what will happen? The ball starts to move horizontally, okay, without giving any external force. We did not give any external force, okay. So without any external force, the ball will start to move horizontally without stopping in a polished surface. So by this experiment, Galileo shows that force not required to maintain the movement of object. So without giving any external force, we can make a movement of an object without stopping it. So we can say Aristotle coupled force with motion and Galileo decoupled force with motion. Okay, Aristotle said without motion, without force there is no motion. But Galileo said we can produce motion even without the external force. So this is all about today's class. I hope you all are enjoying today's class. Okay, so make clear notes. Thank you. Thanks for watching.